In the Strategic Plan Now framework, we use the analogy that your car is like embarking on a epic journey, and in the journey, your car is your business and the journey is where you're headed. So your mission is why you're on the journey, your vision is where you're headed, and you'll know when you get there by what it looks like. The vision can change over time, but for the most part, you're gonna set a mission and a vision that you can rally your team around, and in between, you're gonna set some core objectives, core values, strategic objectives, and action plans to really make that execute. Now's the time to get started for your 2026 action plan. By starting now, you can finish 2025 strong and have a plan going into 2026 that your team can align around, and you can start delegating with more confidence. Quite often what I see is managers or owners who don't have a strong operations system for consistently setting goals with their team. I've created a simple framework for executing against a template in which reports and structure is provided so managers report consistently and expectations are transparent and visible to others. By creating an environment and a system for evaluation, it breaks down the time wasted on the things where, the squeaky wheel gets the attention. We want to make sure that we're looking at the business comprehensively and not just where the problem lies. If you're constantly chasing the problem, you're never going to be able to move into proactive from reactive. So often business owners are stuck in reactive. They're taking everything as it's coming versus taking a balcony approach, looking up and understanding what is happening at all areas, who's leading, who's responsible for each of those areas, and being able to create critical check-ins and consistency in those check-ins in both format and timing that help to progress initiatives. One of the hardest parts of this is implementation and accountability. That's where someone like a fractional COO that has the level of expertise and experience with other businesses can come in and help set the standard for expectations and aligning your team so that you can implement and execute faster and more consistently. I've created a 90-day sprint for creating an action plan to jumpstart your 2026. Start the year off right, looking at the right things, and creating an environment for your team to feel confident in decision making and for you to build trust in your team and how you delegate to them. Now's the time to start a plan for 2026. If you wait until December or January, it'll be too late. You'll be putting yourself into reactive mode immediately. December is a very challenging time with year end. There's so many things going on. It's not the time that you want to be setting goals. The time is now. Start thinking about whether it's a 90-day sprint or a day facilitation. Now is the time to be thinking about it. Whether you work with someone like me or another provider, or you do it internally. I highly advocate for getting outside help. If you've never done an annual action planning that's comprehensive with your whole team before, it's very helpful and beneficial to bring in an outside facilitator, because often the facilitator is able to listen and work with each manager one-on-one to understand their unique area of responsibility and help to uncover where there might be deficiencies or miscommunications and even opportunities. The CEO is often stuck in the day-to-day being reactive, putting out fires. And if you want to get out of that framework and into a more proactive framework, you need an operating system that works for you. By installing a foundation of an operations administration framework like Strategic Plan Now, it'll give you consistency and visibility to what's happening in the business so that you can execute more consistently on the things that you've set out. You can also adjust more nimbly. It allows you to know what's happening, and as opportunities or challenges arise, you can take a look, come together, and think as a team of how this is going to impact what the plans were and how we might adjust going forward. So whether you are a CEO or leading a team, an operational framework can really give you the structure and consistency you need to build trust and be able to delegate with confidence. One of the main things I see with business owners is they really lack the trust in their employees to hand and delegate things off. And that's often because they think when they delegate, it's just handing it off. But there has to be expectations and communication and resources with that handoff. So if we're going to expect for somebody to take on an activity that has been previously held at the management or at the leadership level, let's set those people up for success. whether it's through establishing SOPs, standard operating procedures, providing resources and training. Don't set your people up to fail by not giving them what they need to succeed. Set expectations and give them the tools, whether it's training or other resources, so they succeed. Often I work with businesses to identify where they can streamline activities and in their SOP process, their standard operating procedures, where can we create efficiency so it'll allow your team to do the higher level thinking activities, to let them grow and learn, and creating an environment that really values and encourages continuous improvement. If you want to create an environment where people feel bought into and able to speak up and share ideas, you have to create a space in which there is the ability for feedback to happen and that people are proactively asked and listened to. So often I find that there's so many workers that have not been listened to in so long. I actually do an assessment. There's an onboarding in my 30-day jumpstart. Depending on the size of the business, I typically administer an employee feedback survey to really start understanding some of the issues around communication, policies, and opportunities. Asking staff, what opportunities do you see? Do you have the proper training? Have you been giving the tools and resources you need to be successful? If we're gonna set expectations, which are absolutely critical to achieving goals, then you have to be able to resource people and listen to them to understand. When you create an environment in which staff don't want to share their ideas, it is ultimately going to hurt the organization, because I guarantee there are things at different levels of the organization that are happening that are creating potential risk or slowing you down from growing and scaling simply because somebody didn't think that it was their job to say it, or they thought that leadership should already know this. Why would I be the one that would illuminate this to them? And they don't think of themselves as a key contributor. Coach your team into learning that everyone is a key contributor, because any idea that can come forward and create continuous improvement to align the team and move the team forward and the organization forward is going to benefit. So create an environment of listening and resourcing your employees so that you can set expectations and they'll achieve more in less time.